Mr. Chairman, I got to tell you, I can't thank you enough for bringing Professor Wine in here. I am going to work on trying to get you in front of the Natural Resources Committee. Your testimony today has been enlightening in an argument that we've been making for the past month and a half in that committee. But I want to make sure that what I'm hearing is correct. We have the ability, or do you believe that we have the ability that an increase in production in this country of oil has the ability to affect the price?
Yes, Congressman, it does.
Thank you. Thank you. The other question, and of course, I represent the 3rd District of Louisiana, which is along the coast. All of that idle iron that you're talking about, all of those hundreds of $millions of investment of my constituents and my business owners that are reeling from this de facto moratorium and the policies that this administration is putting on us. One of the things that I found amazing is that the price of natural gas seems to have stabilized over the course of, I guess, the last 24 to maybe 36 months. Would that be a correct statement?
Yes, you're seeing the effects already of the shale gas investment and the shale gas production. And shale gas has come online much earlier than people expected. And so now you have a disconnect where gas is much less expensive relative to oil than in the past. And I think one of the opening remarks of one of your colleagues said the U.S. has the capability in a few years to be actually an exporter of gas, which would help our country in a number of different ways.
And would you say that prior to that trend, oil and natural gas, their prices moved in cadence from peaks and valleys? When you looked at the graph, I guess in the last 30, other than say from 2008, I guess from the time the shale plays were put into play, but prior to that, that oil and gas basically moved in cadence. When oil was up, gas was up. Is that?
That was true most of the time because gas has a restricted transportation system. When you have something like a freeze in the central part of the country where you can't get more gas in there, you sometimes had these peaks and spikes in natural gas prices that you didn't see in oil, especially in cold winters. But your statement is true. Over the longer term, they tended to move together.
Now, when they moved together, I'm just curious. I don't know the answer to that, but when they moved together, we were still importing a tremendous amount of our oil, but we were not importing a lot of natural gas. What was it? Just that oil drug gas up, or was it truly a supply and demand issue?
Well, Congressman, as an economist, I believe that everything is truly a supply and demand issue.
Me too. I'm confused about that.
The U.S. Imported about 10 to 15% of our natural gas needs. So we were importing primarily from Canada, but also through liquefied natural gas to Louisiana and other places. Oil is priced in a world market, and so we have an influence. If we produce more, that will put downward pressure on oil prices. If we produce less, it will put upward pressure on oil prices. Natural gas is more of a local or regional phenomenon, and so that it tends to track oil, but not exactly, until some of my distinguished colleagues on the panel can put natural gas more easily into their transportation equipment. Natural gas will continue to sell at a discount to oil. 70% of the nation's oil consumption is in transportation.
And I only have 1 minute, but and I want to. It's a great point because my question would be: if we move natural gas into a transportation type fuel, we would recognize that there would be a bump in the cost of natural gas. But based upon the supply that we have in the country, would that be how great would that rise be, you believe? Would it be $1, $2? Would it be $5, $6?
I think nobody knows for sure. The outlook for natural gas, especially with shale, is very promising. And so I'm afraid that if we don't do as you suggest, the price of natural gas could go way down. And that would hurt the natural gas producers and all the associated businesses that supply the natural gas industry. So I actually think that but making natural gas into more of a transportation fuel would help support the domestic industry.
So it would actually act as a buffer, both protecting the natural gas industry, but also keeping the price at a stable level.
That's correct.
Maybe just a little higher than it is today, but nothing near the records that we're seeing oil at.
That nobody knows for sure, but I think that's a very good guess, Congressman.
Thank you so much. Thank you again.